Resident Evil 2 is a remake of the 1998 game with the same title, a faithful recreation of the classic survival horror title. The original series was known for its unique camera angles and exploration-based gameplay that left players reeling back in terror. Using the technology at the time, Capcom managed to use the resources they had to ignite fear in the hearts of players, and now 20 years later, they have set out to recapture that fire. Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield returned 3 generations of consoles later, and they've never looked better. Using Resident Evil 7's RE engine, which can create photorealistic imagery, characters look phenomenal. Small details such as the characters walking feel natural, and each step feels unique. Characters grimace and wince when injured, and their eyes dart around, scanning the area for danger. The characters are so detailed, you can determine the amount of stress that the character is going through. The emotional depth allows you to connect a lot more with the characters than when they were polygonal models on the PlayStation 1, and the new game's camera style increases the emotional connectivity that you have with the pair. Unlike Resident Evil 7, which attempted a more personal first-person camera, the remake now follows closely behind to feel every tense footstep across the now dilapidated House of Justice.
What the hell is up with you? I can do this.
Exploring the destitute, dreary dungeon demands you to drag yourself from room to room filled with deadly hordes of the undead, among other machinations of Umbrella that are looming in dark corridors ready to strike and keep you on guard, and you'd be a fool to drop your guard. Conservative players rewarded. Each encounter drives many potential difficult developments and will affect how later parts of the game develop, depending on your style of play. If you try to eliminate every obstacle, eventually you will come across a brick wall. Eliminated enemies mean you'll have a more relaxing time exploring the dark corridors, run too fast into danger, and you eventually run out of healing items. The design rewards careful planning your route and managing your items, and remembering the routes that are dangerous to make your exploration more pleasant. Unpleasant hordes roam tight corridors, crawl along the dilapidated flooring, and some remain motionless. All are potential hazards impeding your path, forcing you into reluctant action. Zombies lurch unpredictably towards you, drifting left and right as if they're trying to dodge a blue shell. Every bullet leaves an impact. Arms melt off, legs snap, tears emerge on clothes and skin. A crazy amount of attention to detail which makes every bullet feel impactful. Eventually, through the struggle, you'll take one down, but watch out, because you might still be in peril. Zombies lay motionless, but could get up at any moment. They'll snatch and leap towards you. With already limited resources, you're left to decide whether to check if a zombie is still alive or risk walking past it. This type of design makes you rethink encounters. Every zombie, even the dead, are potentially dangerous, putting you on edge when you think you're safe. It may not always be worth engaging the enemy, risking ammo that could be used for more dangerous encounters. In this instance, you're trading the safety of the now for the safety of a later situation. Occasionally, you might end up spending a bullet or two on a dead zombie just to make yourself feel safer. In older Resident Evil titles, you could escape to the safety of another room. Not anymore. Zombies will slam on doorways, forcing their way towards you, constantly and horribly persistent. Pestilent and persistent. Mr. X. The tyrant will pursue you endlessly. His stomps echo throughout the RPD building, alerting you that he's in close proximity. Retreating behind doors has no effect. As he barges through, shunting creatures out of the way. When he's not on your tail, the noise emanates across the silent creaking RPD building. As you crawl through the abyss, you can hear the thunderous stomps as they cascade across your speakers. Thanks to the excellent attention to detail in the sound, Mr. X isn't the only thing that will send shivers down your spine. In a creative decision, the remake doesn't constantly play music, so that the sound effects and environment are more atmospheric. When I played this title, I had access to the classic and modern soundtracks, and while the lack of music allowed me to pay attention to screeches, scratching, and banging, it made it easier to stay alert of any danger. The classic soundtrack emphasized dangerous territory and created a sense of unease. There is consistency to how you approach situations. The game is designed to allow the player to strategically think through and plan for encounters. All the systems of the game work in harmony to accomplish this feat. First up, inventory space is limited. So when exploring, you can't necessarily carry the items that you may need. The map displays intricate details about your expedition through the nightmare, detailing whether or not you discovered everything in a room, which key unlocks which door, and any items that you've left to pick up later. Leaving an item in a dangerous area could mean disaster later. You can drop items, including health and key items, once they have served their purpose, but once they are discarded you can't retrieve them, and with a limited amount of items in the game you'll have to consider if it's worth discarding or dealing with the shopping trip dilemma. In Resident Evil 2 you can keep track of any notes or puzzle clues by checking the inventory, and usually the puzzle solution will be in plain sight. Collecting items is overly beneficial as you can store them in an item box and decide when you want to use them, which is an element left over from the classic title that enables and pushes for strategic planning.
This is Nighthawk. Come in, Alpha. Alpha, do you read?
Nighthawk, this is Hunk from Alpha Team.
Man, I thought you were all wiped out. I've been trying
I'm
to...
at point K. Well, need info on my extraction.
Guess there's no keeping down the Grim Reaper, huh?
My extraction point.
Relax, mister. I'm headed toward the front gate of RPD. Meet you up there.
Got it.
After completing Resident Evil 2 for the first time, you'll unlock extra features and extra game modes, including the Fourth Survivor, which allowed you to play as Hunk and escape from the sewers and the Raccoon Police Department yourself. Completing that unlocks Tofu mode, which is an alternate game mode where instead of playing as Hunk, you play as a piece of sentient tofu. And completing that also unlocks 4 other types of tofu with different weapon types. Completing certain objectives in-game, as well as completing certain trophies or achievements, grant you with concept art or models of in-game characters. There's a model for every in-game character and every zombie, and you can check out animations as well as different outfits and guns. Some of the concept art that you unlock may be unused content or content that they have saved for a later date. For example, there is a piece of concept art with a picture of a pale head cut from the main game but was later added as free DLC down the line in one of the free character stories added a week after launch. These are called the Ghost Survivors, and they include 4 different stories from different characters that unfortunately died in the main campaign. Overall, a fantastic package that doesn't invalidate the classic title and creates a fantastic reason to look forward to the future titles in the series. Highly recommended if you can stomach the terror in the title.